out there about integrative medicine and these underlying pathways to really finding your best health. And this is why we really want to get this message out there. So, as people are joining here on Facebook and on the different pages here, we want to go over these underlying pathways to health. Once you get understand these different pathways, now you'll know how to work on each one to really find optimal health. Number one is this low grade inflammation. So what we do is we first of all want to understand, how do you test for this low grade inflammation, what is causing it as well. And that is something that is extremely important, because that is really a cause of many chronic diseases, is inflammation. Inflammation in controlled amounts is beneficial, but when it's uncontrolled for years, a low grade inflammation, that is detrimental. It's a problem for good health, and you want to find the source of it. What we look for at times, is it coming from the gut? Quite often there's a overgrowth of bacteria in the gut. This is the new realm of research over the last 5 years that's showing that these opportunistic bacteria that become overgrown, they're okay in very small amounts, very controlled amounts. In fact, they have a purpose. But when they become overgrown, they're going to become inflammatory, and they might even stimulate the immune system to not recognize itself, known as autoimmunity. So, one of the root causes of inflammation is the gut, and that's why it's so important. And it's something that's so stressed in integrative medicine. It's emphasized that we need to improve gut health, which includes finding out if we have the keystone species, these certain bacteria. Some of the names, some of these big names that we see in the research that are beneficial, like Akkermansia, it helps to heal the gut through increasing mucus production that heals the gut. There's this fecal bacterium that helps to produce butyrate. It's a short chain fatty acid that also heals the gut, but also connects with the brain. It's known as neuroplasticity, can improve the synapses and the functioning of our neurons, the nerve cells of the brain. And that is a short chain fatty acid produced by these good bacteria. And that's why that's so important. There are also these processes known as, we all know the word, detoxification, but see, that requires certain nutrients and vitamins, as well as amino acids and plants that can really support the different phases of detoxification. There's also a process known as methylation, which also is very important. That is typically supported by activated B vitamins and other nutrients such as choline, and other nutrients as well. But that's process as methylation needs to be supported, not overly too much. That's called overmethylation, but a perfect balance. We also want to work on inflammatory markers such as uric acid. That's a system in of itself. It's called xanthine oxidase. That also can require certain nutrients to lower that uric acid by improving that enzymatic system known as xanthine oxidase. And so the mitochondria is one more piece that's extremely important. How we really look into the mitochondria are the byproducts of the mitochondria. That is these organic acids that we test for to see if there is a problem within the energy producing cycle of the mitochondria, known as the Krebs cycle. Those byproducts that shoot off that Krebs cycle, we can measure in the urine, and we can see where the mitochondria is not functioning as well. So these are some of these underlying pathways to optimal health. And of course, it always comes to food first, because when it comes to the gut, quite often we're going to need to approach it through food, the way that we're eating. That's going to help really build up the good bacteria and bring down the overgrowth of these opportunistic bacteria. With the mitochondria, food is also important, because many of the nutrients for the mitochondria come through many of these nutritious foods that we're talking about. And detoxification requires food first as well, because many of these amino acids and vitamins and nutrients can be found in certain foods that are also very important to include in detoxification and improving detoxification. So food is first. We also want to connect the mind body. In other words, that you want to have a good attitude and a generally an uplifted mood. That's going to improve the microbiome. That's going to improve our stress, of course, and our cortisol, which relates to insulin. So that mind body connection is extremely important for that overall picture of health. And this is really an integrative medicine, these underlying processes that we're optimizing. So that is what's so very, very important. So if you have any questions, I see some of you do, please put it in the comments below and we'll answer as we come back around. And if you're seeing us on the replay, let us know about that in the comments below. And go ahead and share this if you find this to be important, someone else might need to know, and give us a like to support our page here at South Florida Integrative Health Center. Our other pages that we're also live streaming on is something that's also very important, because as we're saying, food is first, and we have to be holistic in this mind-body connection. And quite often when it comes to health, it is the aromatherapies, the reflexology, the acupuncture that also complements fixing these underlying pathways to reach optimal health. Everyone have a very healthy day. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.